Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tireless Pilgrims podcast. I am one of your hosts, Lewis, aka It's a Fairy's First Barber, joined by my friend Curtis, aka the Muffin Man. How are you doing today, Curtis?
What's up? I'm okay. I actually got some sleep, so I'm not tired. Not tired.
You're looking bright-eyed and, as they say, bushy-tailed, just flickering away. Today we have a very special episode to share. We were honored to get a interview with a upcoming rising artist for magic, someone that has been only working with the magic with Wizards of the Coast for the last couple of years, but has already made cards that have kind of made a huge impact. One, cards that have been absolutely played, but also two, some arts that have just like kind of hit the nail right on the head. We're talking about our new friend Jarel Threat, artist for cards that you might know, like Ink Shield, Priest of the Forgotten Lore. What are a few of the other cards,
Priest of
Curtis?
Ancient Lore.
Oh, right. Priest of the Ancient Lore, not Forgotten Lore. I always think it's Forgotten Lore.
He did the new art for Rest in Peace for the
the Rest in Peace.
Yeah, the Amonkhet remastered. He
Yes.
did Mox Ruby for Eternal Weekend.
Correct.
Looks phenomenal.
That Mox Ruby is actually like very, 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 very good. Yeah, so we are very excited to pass this on and show y'all this interview. This was a very nice time. And Jarel, if you're watching, we gotta get you playing Magic. We gotta get you on it. You gotta be playing some of your cards. They're just way too good.
Maybe I'll build him an Eloise deck and send it down to him.
Oh, now that, you know what? That's the way.
Let's do
Without the combo, though. Without the combo. I don't think.
the combo.
Mm,
I'll build it how I would build it for me. Have the combo with no tutors.
With no tutors? All right. All right. But
that's
then
the way to do it.
Like, but we gotta write a little primer in.
Oh yeah, of course.
Insert.
Can't send them in blind, you know?
Yeah. For the combo especially. That otherwise I'm like, what is what is this? It does what now? This loop doesn't end. Oh man. We're just gonna sit here forever. All right. But thank you everybody for sticking around, and please stay tuned for the interview.
Sorry.
Ain't no reason to be nervous.
Oh man,
I'm just a dude.
Well, I at one point considered myself an artist, and like seeing another Black artist doing art for a game that I love, that just means a lot to me, you know.
It's super sick.
I can definitely relate to that. I know when I was coming up in art school, you know, I was always either one or maybe two of the Black people in the class kind of thing. And even in the industry, like just in, you know, especially fantasy illustration as a whole, there aren't a lot of Black artists in general. And so I am happy that Magic is doing what they're doing, because they branched out a lot as far as, you know, bringing in people of color and whatnot. Jabari, he did something for Secret Lair, is really cool.
Yes.
Eric Wilkerson, who is like my idol, one of my idols, art heroes, because he was like the first illustrator I ever knew about that was Black and was doing exactly what it was I wanted to do and was doing it at a high level. So, you know, Eric has always been an inspiration of mine. So he's doing work for Magic as well. And so
Definitely seen
yeah.
some Eric Wilkerson cards for sure.
Oh yeah. He's really big in book covers. So he was able to come over to the Magic side, which was really, I think we started around the same time actually.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2020.
Okay.
So that's really cool. So it's cool to see the representation there. Especially for people who, you know, younger generation coming up, you know, to have someone that looks like you doing something, you know, especially in our community, you know, us seeing different avenues in which we can enter into, easier to get into it when you know someone has already done it. That's what Eric did for me, looking at his work. I knew from that point I was able, oh, this is something I can actually do. Because before then it was like theory, but there was no concrete evidence of a Black person doing fantasy art. Like I ain't knowing, like there was, I couldn't find, and I was in the libraries. I was at my art school. I was in the library all the time trying to find people of color like that. And you know, later on I found Blackshear, which was Thomas Blackshear, who's the illustrator. He does like fantasy adjacent stuff, but phenomenal. If you guys ever get a chance to look at him, like his stuff is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, we will look him up.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. I think it's Thomas Blackshear the third.
Okay.
I think that's his full name, but yeah, you could just put in Blackshear and he'll come up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the scene in Texas. What is the art scene like down there? Are there a lot of up and coming artists of color that we should keep our eye out for?
Well, the art scene here is more like installation type stuff, fine art type stuff. It's not really illustration based. At least as far as I know. I mean, there's some tattoo artists down here who I think are really cool, but yeah, as far as people of color in the industry, like that's coming up in the industry from here, I don't know of any. Now there are a couple of Magic. Well, there's one Magic artist that lives in the Houston area, Sarah Finnegan.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she does landscape. She does the landscape land cards. Okay. Really dope artist, especially when you see her stuff in person. It's ridiculously good. So yeah, I think we live like 40 minutes apart. Yeah, but yeah, there aren't really, I can't think of any that are here that live here besides her that does like fantasy type stuff.
Okay.
Just curious, are there any graffiti artists out there kind of like crushing it? Anybody out there like graffiti wise that you kind of like get down with? Anything?
I'm trying to think of it. Not here.
Okay.
When I was in Florida, there were a couple that I knew over there, but here I haven't met any graffiti artists. Yeah, and when I went to art school in Sarasota, there was always this competition. Well, it wasn't a competition, but it was like a festival of like street art and graffiti art. They shut down like a full city block just for artists to come in and do stuff over there. So I grew to know a few people in there. But as far as here, yeah, I haven't really found anyone that does like graffiti art, or if they do graffiti art, do it well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. But that's just, you know, I'm not heavy into the art scene here locally, is probably because a lot of it is like outside of my interests a lot of the time. So like I said, it's like a lot of installation and abstract fine art type stuff. So and sculpt. Well, I mean, I like sculpture, so there's sculpture stuff here too. But yeah, I haven't really done a lot of that in a long time. Yeah.
Nice.
you were saying like seeing Sarah's work in person. Do you think the art on the card is represented well of like the actual piece?
No, but that's just what happens with print in general.
Right.
When you print something, especially if you do like an oil painting, it's just the way that light, the way that your eyes work versus how, you know, a printer will print something work completely differently. So the luminosity isn't there. There are certain subtleties in a painting that you just don't get in a card. Yeah, that's why I like going to there's this convention called a LuxCon. I've been to the last couple of years, and every time I go there, it's always a eye-open experience because you get to see these paintings. A lot of the time, they'll bring paintings like Donato's there, Matthew
Donato.
Stewart comes, like, you know, Rob Ray. Every once in a while, Jeff Miracle didn't come this year, but he comes to there's a lot of magic artists. Michael C. Hayes was there last year. And so you get to see these paintings, how they actually look in person, and the way that they just glow. To me, it's like it's a whole different experience, you know, than it is to see it on, like, it's cool on a print, but it's just something about seeing it in person. You get up close to it, you can see all the brush marks and everything like that. And like one thing particularly about Michael C. Hayes's work that I noticed when I saw his work in person is that his saturation level is out of this world. Like the way, like his darks are very, very saturated, like very vibrant reds and purples and blues sometimes. And the cards don't, like when you print it, it picks none of that up. It just looks dark, or it looks like a little muted. But when you see it in person, it's just like
the nuance,
like a rainbow
pops
coming at you kind of thing. Yeah, it's just, it's insane how artists are able to do that. I'm trying to do that, trying to figure out how to make my paintings look more like that. But yeah, it's definitely a difference between the two. Sometimes they'll crop it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask, what is your favorite medium? What do you like to work with the most? I know you mentioned sculpture before, but and obviously like your drawings, your paintings, like what do you like to do the most? What do you gravitate towards if you could do that forever?
Oil painting.
Oil painting?
Yeah, because that's what I primarily work with now.
You did do some digital, right?
Yeah. I actually started out as a digital artist. I was, let's see, from 2012 till 2018, I was pretty much fully digital. And then in 2018, I switched to traditional. And a lot of that it was both a personal and a business decision to do it that way, because a lot of people don't know how it actually works with magic, but you get the digital artists don't sell pieces. Like you can't, there's no original, it's digital. Yeah. So in order to compensate, because magic doesn't pay you like a lot of money to make the cards for the commissions, it's like $1,000 to $2,500 depending on what it is. And so, you know, it takes about 6 weeks for the piece to get done. So under those circumstances, if you're a digital artist, you have to, in order to make a decent living, you have to pump out like 6, 7 cards, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
But if you're traditional, I can make 2 and then I can just do it on the back end. And then I can sell the painting, because the art market for magic art has exploded over the last few years. So collectors and all that stuff. So I'm able to sell a painting for anywhere. I sold paintings anywhere from 2 to like $8 grand so far, anywhere between there. That's and amazing. So I'm able to sell that. I started doing preliminary drawings, so I can sell that now. And then on top of that, you get prints that you can make out of it, play mats that you can make out of that. And then on top of that, the Magic gives you artist proofs that, you know, well, I mean, Curtis bought a couple of them. So I appreciate that, by the way. I always appreciate the support. And so you're able to make a lot more revenue when you make traditional art as opposed to digital art. So I looked at that and I was like, yeah, it'd probably be better to do it that way than to do it digitally, because you have to make more work.
Okay.
You know? It's just, to me, I'd rather work less and make more money than to do the opposite. So
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder, for sure.
Yeah, I've already put in the hours. I don't need to, you know, put in even more hours because I already know how to paint. I know how to draw and all those things. So making more work doesn't please me that way. Not only that, I'm not really, there's like a detachment between me and digital work. Like I can do it and it comes out fine. But for me, there's not the personal satisfaction that I get when as opposed to when I'm like oil painting, there's like a personal satisfaction there. So
yeah, that actual connection from paint to canvas. I feel that.
Yeah, it's a different experience, because I remember, I think it was Darkin. He said this long time ago. He was like on his YouTube channel. I remember he said something to the effect of, he beats his paintings into submission. It's like, as a digital artist, yeah, you can do that because everything is in your control. If you don't like something, you can change it, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
You can change the whole thing in a matter of minutes if you need to. You can't do that with a traditional piece.
Not at all.
Like, you have to plan it to a certain degree, and if the painting says that doesn't work, then it doesn't work. You just have to work with what the painting is telling you. There's more of a feedback. There's a feedback loop with traditional art that isn't there with digital. So I like that. Yeah. And I have something that I could say, you know, I can hang on the wall and be like, yeah, I made that with my bare hands. There were no filters, there were no texture brushes. It's like, I made all those decisions. There was no, you know, shortcut type thing. Like, I think that's a point of pride though for me. So
but that's important to have, especially when it's something that you're super like trying to work out well. So it definitely
100%.
What has been your favorite piece for Magic so far?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I think right now you have like 14 or 15 cards.
Yeah,
that have been released.
A little under 20. Yeah.
Man, a favorite one.
Even if it's one that's not out yet.
Oh, no. I can pick from the ones that are out yet. It's just that it's
hard to pick your favorite kid.
It's always like there's two in particular. So it's the first card I ever made, which is the Rest in Peace one. That was
that one's incredible.
You know, yeah, that was the first card I ever did for Magic. They gave me Rest in Peace for the first card. They didn't tell me it would come with such pressure. Like, I didn't know. See, one thing about
important card.
Most Magic artists don't actually play the game. So I had no idea how important that card was.
Yeah, you have a few important cards.
I just did it because, you know, I wanted to make a good impression. I wanted them to hire me again. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go all out for this card. So they hire me again. And then when it comes out, I think it was Mike Linderman. He helps me. He is one of the administrators on the art market. He helps me sell my paintings on for Magic stuff. And I think he said like, yo, you know, this card is like replacing Therese Nelson's Rest in Peace card. Like that's you just made like that for your first card. And I'm like, huh? That's whoa, dude. Like, why did you make that my first card? And I was like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
You know,
huge.
I mean, this was already after the card was made and stuff like that. I was like, well, what if nobody liked the card? But I'm thankful that
Oh no,
the reception has been very, very nice on that card. So it's between that one and one of the cards I did for Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Elos.
Eloise?
Eloise.
I can never pronounce it right. I'm terrible with names. And also Magic changes the names of stuff sometimes. So I remember the old card names, but I don't remember the new card names. So yeah, that I actually kept that one. I still have it. I never sold that one because I liked it so much. So it's between those two. I can never pick one.
Okay.
So I'll say both of those are my favorite equally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ebony Fly is also incredible. Man, everything is so good.
That card is a card I actually look at very often because I have it somewhere near me. And I was
people like that card a lot.
Yeah,
I was like, you know, it was very interesting because I think out of the three, because I did 3 for that set, I was like, that was my least favorite out of the 3 that I did. Not because I don't like it, but because I like the other ones a lot more. And it's like I always find it interesting when I would I'd be at a show and a lot of people love the print of it too. I was like, that's interesting. What was it that you guys like about it?
I like the hand.
Yeah, the way
the
hand and the kind of the highlighting of the fly itself, like seeing it kind of feels like a piece out of the fly, the old movie. Like it's like like kind of just like when it was being bestowed the power to then give Jeff Goldblum the bad
all right, that makes a little bit of sense. I think people like the hand thing too.
Hands are so hard to draw or paint well. This is
that's why always usually when I get a painting that has a hand in it, I'm like, yes, because I work really hard to get good at hands.
You have to.
Yeah, it's like it's one of the things I took from Donato a lot is like, because his hand stuff is bonkers. And so I was like, if I'm gonna be good, I want to be like that. I want to be good like that, where I make a painting and it has hands in it that people are like, that's my favorite part of the painting, of the hands, the way you do the hands. So yeah, it was cool because I was actually able to stretch that a little bit with the what was it? Crowded Crypt one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
That's a dope card.
Had a lot of hands in it.
Yeah, right. It's all hands.
I haven't.
It's nothing but hands. I had so much fun with that one. Oh man, I was able to really, really stretch my ability. I think that's the most hands. No, it's actually
most hands in one piece.
A lot of hands in that piece.
It might not be. It might be tied because I made a painting a long time ago where I had like 20 hands in it. It might be around there. So it's one of the paintings that I put the most hands in. For sure. Very fun.
Nice. Yeah. I was gonna ask, how do you feel about the card Ink Shield and its reception? I know personally for me, in those colors, it's one of the like better things I should be playing. And like how have you heard people kind of talk to you about Ink Shield? I think it's a ridiculous card, but also the art on it is gorgeous. Like how did you like kind of doing those weird like inklings from Strixhaven? I kind of like the way you did them on that card.
So funny thing about that. So I was when I got the card, every time you get a card, you submit sketches and there's like feedback and stuff like that. And I think that was my third set that I worked on by that point, something like that. So I was already kind of comfortable with, how the feedback loop was going. And I think this was the first card I actually worked with Zach Stella on, I think. And so I made the sketch, and I think we went like back and forth like 3-4 times trying to get the inklings right.
Okay.
And I think at one point I was like, man, I'm so tired of this back and forth. I'm just going to start the painting because everything else was pretty much in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had submitted a sketch that I was like, he probably not going to turn this one down. So I just transferred the thing to the canvas, and I actually started painting the whole thing. And then I think the day after I got the whole thing in, he was like, can we change it again? And I was like, oh, why did I do this to myself? So I actually redid it. Well, I resubmitted the sketch, and he finally approved that one. And so I had to go back into the painting. I had to paint out all the inklings. I actually have a YouTube video where I show this. It's on my YouTube channel. I actually show the entire painting process. You look at it, like I paint the whole thing in, and then you see me paint the sky in the second coat, and I'm painting over all the inklings. That's because I had to redo the whole thing for the inklings. So I had to repaint all the inklings. That was a pain in the butt, by the way, to do, but it was my own fault. I should have been patient, but I didn't. But like overall, the people really like that card.
Yeah, it's a very
that's what I
strong
think.
card.
That is the most requested proof that I get.
Okay.
To the point where I only have 5 left, something like that. And so
how
no
many
other
do they
card
send
is
you?
like that. Huh?
How many do they send you?
Oh man, it's like it depends, but I think it's like 50 something.
Okay.
And so pretty much there's like 5 or 7 left, at least that I plan on selling, because I'm gonna keep a few. Donato told me I should always keep some, so that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. But there's like 7 left that I'm actually planning on selling, and no other proof that I've gotten had that much demand. Now, given it's the first proof that I had, because the first 2 cards that that got released were for Arena. So this was the first. And then the second one I worked on, the second set I worked on still hasn't come out yet, which is It's the second card. The second card I ever made for Magic still hasn't come out yet. I think it was supposed to be for Arena or something, but it never came out. Okay. I mean, it might come out later, years down the line. I've heard people say that it doesn't like that sometimes. It might be out and I just don't know it.
How does that make you feel? Like you put all this time and effort into this product and then it doesn't see the light of day.
It is what it is. I can't control it. So I mean, it's a really nice card though. I did a good job on it. I was so proud of it. I was like, I can't wait for this thing to come out. And and then it never came out. So I mean, but other than that, Inkshield's been my most popular proof, and it does fairly well with prints as well. I think at some point I'm gonna make a play mat out of it because people do seem to like it quite a bit.
Yeah, I would get one for sure.
Yeah, that would be a easy scoop for sure.
Yeah, I need to get on that at some point.
Because I do believe they have like you can get the full art of Inkshield. I think like it doesn't like. I think you can get either a regular frame, and I think there's like a full art frame of it.
Yeah. I do remember that I had to make that because I only got one of those. I only got the regular one, I think.
Okay.
I don't think I got the extended one.
Okay. Yeah, the extended. It's cool.
Maybe they'll send another batch for the extended one at some point. That'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Another important card that you did was Mox Ruby, one of the Power 9.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was very fun. Very, very fun. I another hand painting. So that's always good.
Right.
And let's see. Yeah, that was for the internal weekend, if I remember correctly. Right. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, that was a surprise, a big surprise, because I didn't think I would get a Mox anything for a long time, let alone like the first. I think I did that the first year. I think it was in 2020 that I made it, because I think it came out in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I made it in 2020. So yeah, I was like, yo, I got a Mox already. I was very happy about that.
Yeah,
So
one of the most important cards.
Yeah.
I know, because I remember
Seriously.
Ryan Pankos had done a Mox, and I was like, yo, the way he did with Mox was really cool. So I was like, man, if I wanna, like, I feel like I make it if I ever do a Mox. And then I was like, first year I got a Mox. I was like, did I already make it? I was like, I think that's how that works. But I'm very grateful that they, asked me to do it, or invited me to do it, because they always give you the option if you want to do it or not. But I'm happy that they considered me at all.
Right. Yeah. I think you don't see always, like, I feel like sometimes they'll do going back to some old, like, signature pieces, like a chrome Mox or a Mox opal or a Mox diamond, and you'll see them sometimes go back to the same artist. So it's cool to see you kind of get a chance to touch on that old art. That old piece. It's amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually had bought this. Well, I don't know if it's technically fancy, but I had bought a specific pillow to reference the thing that is resting on. I was like, I pretty much went all out on that one. I think I had bought like some costume jewelry to make sure that the ruby actually looked good and all that kind of stuff. I went all out on that thing. Make sure, like, when you get cards like that, you got to go all out.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do you play Magic at all, or like anything similar? Do you play like any kind of TCGs of any sort?
No, I don't. I've been told that I should get into Arena, because I am curious about it, because I've watched matches before. I'm like, whoo, this thing is complicated.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard to follow, especially when you don't know what's going on. So I was told you should get in the Arena. It helps you figure out how all this stuff works. Just out of curiosity, and see if it would help me with making cards. Because I know Scott Fisher, he's like a diehard Magic player. He was playing Magic before he even worked for the company, kind of thing. So yeah. So I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, a long time ago. And I actually collected quite a bit of those. Because the show was out, the anime was on, and
it was lit. Of
like
course.
11, 12 years old, you were like, yeah, I want to be like him. So you try to do stuff from the show be cheating. Like, that's not even
that's not game. Cards don't work like that. Yeah. I used to get tilted watching Yu-Gi-Oh and seeing cards that I knew in front of me had no abilities do some blast on the show, and I'm like, it doesn't do that.
That's not even how it works.
Does that. What are you doing?
Yeah. So that's funny. But yeah, I don't really play any of it. I'm gonna get into it a little bit, see how that goes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I heard that you were influenced by Dragon Ball Z in the beginning.
Yes. I was that's actually how I became an artist in the first place. I had this friend in fourth grade. But prior to fourth grade, I had already knew about Dragon Ball Z. I had already was in love with it, because Toonami had came out when I was like in third grade. I think it's around when it started. So I was all up on Toonami. Old school Toonami with Trigun, Cowboy Bebop,
when it was really
They had
good.
Gundam Wing on there.
They, I think,
It was
occasionally
Mobile Suit Gundam.
Tenchi
first.
Muyo, I think they had.
Yeah,
too,
they had
right?
Tenchi Muyo on there too. Yeah, a lot of people don't even know about Tenchi Muyo nowadays.
Oh
that
yeah,
was a dope show.
Tenchi's wild.
Outlaw
Yeah.
Star, like Sailor
Yes,
Moon, all of
Outlaw
that.
Star. Oh my god, Outlaw Star
Yes,
was so
yeah,
good.
all of that. So I was back in there with the OG days from the beginning. That
Nice.
Potbelly Tom, not the tall, buff looking one, no, but Potbelly
Right.
Tom.
Yeah.
Before the
Yes.
shit blew up.
Yeah.
He had
Yes,
he had a
he
little
had
bit
the
of a-
Potbelly.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's the tsunami I'm talking about. So
He looked like a retired Vector man.
yeah, all of that. So I was already familiar with Dragon Ball Z, and I was in love with it. So 4th grade, I had a friend. His brother had made a drawing, and it was in this binder. And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. Can I have that drawing?" He was like, "No, that's my brother's drawing, but you can have his binder though, and there's some paper in it. Why don't you draw something yourself?" So I took the binder, took it home, and I had this picture. I had 2 pictures, one of Goku and Tien. They're just standing there, like front pose. And I just started drawing it. And however long went by, I was like, after I finished, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But looking back on it, it was terrible. I still have it. It's terrible.
You still have that drawing?
I still have the binder and
Nice.
the drawings.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
Horrendous art. It was like now as a 10-year-old for a first try, it was pretty good, but I'm looking at it now like this thing is terrible. But I just, from that point on, I was drawing pretty much only Dragon Ball Z stuff for the longest time, all through elementary, all through junior high, and all through high school. Just straight Dragon Ball Z type stuff. It got to the point where I was starting to make up my own characters, but it was mostly still in Dragon Ball Z style. And then I went to art school, and nowadays it's cool, but back then when I was in it, it was a no-no. You couldn't even put anime in your portfolio. They wouldn't even allow you to apply if you had anime in there. So I had to make up some stuff. And then when I actually got into art school, they kind of beat the anime out of me. So I can't actually draw it anymore. But there's still aspects of it. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. It's like, you don't draw this way. You don't draw like that. You draw like this. And that's just how they taught me. So
right.
Yeah, I kind of had to leave it alone after that. And I tried to go back to it every now and again, and I just can't do it like I used to. It just doesn't, it ain't the same. I can't do it. But there are certain aspects from anime that I still use when I'm composing things, or how I make figures, or certain compositions that I still implement from my anime background. So, yeah.
Are there any anime that you're into right now? Like, what are you watching right now?
Had to be on. I don't really watch anime like I used to. I'm ashamed to say. I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed to say that. I feel like I'm outgrowing it, which is so sad. So sad. I mean, I don't pick up new anime very much. I still watch like the older ones that I grew up on. Like I still love watching that. I think the newest thing that I watched. Oh, I watched Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk.
I heard it. I actually haven't seen it, but I heard really good. Yeah.
It was really good. Well, I'm not a huge fan of Cyberpunk endings, but I love that the show was fantastic.
Okay.
The endings are always so unresolved. I never liked that about the genre itself. That's just a genre pet peeve I have, but the show was fantastic. Yeah. Let's see. I watched that. I watched Yusuke. It's also on Netflix.
Okay.
It's about a black samurai.
Yes, that one's actually really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's really, really good. I really enjoyed that one. I guess mainstream anime. I guess the most recent one I watched was Demon Slayer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm fully caught up on Demon Slayer as well.
I am not fully caught up yet.
Neither am I.
I keep pushing it off because I'm still not, even though this was a long time, I'm still haven't watched the last part of Attack on Titan. And I'm trying to get on that first.
Either.
I'm like a few. I watched up to like some of the last stuff. If Curtis is just, let's just say it got very nutty towards this end. The endings this last season. I forget everything you thought.
I already know what happens in the manga, so I already know how it ends. It's just I want to see it realized in the anime. So I keep pushing it off. I don't know why I keep pushing it off, but I keep pushing it off. That, and I also found out there's a new season of Overlord. I want to watch that. I love that show. That show is really, really good. Which is very surprised. I love how they maneuvered that, where you an OP character that you want to see succeed. I'm like, how does that even do it that way? I think genius writing.
The premise is crazy, and I think it's a hard thing to, like, you're rooting for them, and at the same time sometimes you're like, hold up, chill, like, relax. You're a little too strong, and you're a little too aware. The self-awareness is like so wild. How well he controls the gang, and it's just like, I know how this person.
And
it's so psychological.
It always works out perfectly.
It's just so good.
I love how perfectly he's playing this game. You shouldn't like it. That's the thing. You shouldn't like any of it. You should be rooting against him at every point. But every time someone tries to oppose him, you like, oh, I want to see how you messes this dude up. Like,
Yes, like how the plot armor. Let's see how good that plot armor is about to get.
I want to see. Yeah, like I say, I keep pushing this stuff off because the thing about me is I'm a sub person. Like, I don't like doing dubs. I only do dubs for very specific anime, and I have to know that it's great dub anime. Like Death Note dub, fantastic. Don't touch it. Love it.
So good.
It's like I almost think it's better in dub than it is in sub.
Yeah, I've done both, and I think I like the English dub. Yeah,
I couldn't get into Death Note
like that.
Nah.
No, I couldn't.
I've unfortunately watched that more times than I should have. I've watched that more than once. Do you? I'm just curious because I know it's one of my favorites. Do you mess with One Punch Man?
I do. Okay. I do. Yes. Yeah. I love the first season. Second season isn't as good as the first one. The first one was flawless.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they in the second season they missed the mark on what makes him good. Like what makes the show good. I think they gave him too much focus. He's like he's like the final boss dude. Like you send him in, like pretty much how they did in the first season. Like Genos is doing stuff, he getting his butt kicked, like with the mermaid, Sea King and the Mermaid King.
Right.
Genos was working his tail off on this dude. It was getting a body, and then Saitama just shows up and then knocks him off. Like that's how it is. Like that's how One Punch Man is supposed to go. Like all the other characters are fighting stuff, and then he just plops in and then just bodies everything. But in the second season, they didn't really do it that way. I think they tried to do too much with him. But
it was definitely different for sure.
Yeah,
I feel that. Now, just curious, of all the things you've drawn, if you can bring any of them with you into a fight, which one would you bring with you?
Of all the things I've done?
Of all the things you've drawn, of all the things you've drawn, whether for magic or if it's something that's not magic related.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, of all the things you've drawn, if you could bring it with you, what would you bring?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. Because I'm trying to think of all the stuff I've done, or at least a good chunk of it. I'm like, oh, man.
Listen, if you want to bring any of those anime guys that you used to draw as like backup too, that also counts.
Oh well, I'm bringing Goku with me. I know that for sure. I'm bringing Goku with me always. Vegeta's coming with me too. I guess besides the anime characters I would draw, there were a few dragons I've done. I think it was back in 2017, 2018. I did for this card game that wasn't Magic.
Okay.
And those are some beastly dragons. I'd like to bring them with me. That's always a good thing.
Is that card game still relevant? Like, what
I have
is it?
no. I don't even know if it ever released or not. To be honest,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think it ever got released. Like, maybe it did. If it did, I don't think anyone ever told me if it got released. The name of it, at least when I was working on it, was called Quest for the Crest.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Never heard
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it ever got released or not. I know I made like 60 cards for that thing.
Oh my god!
I think I did the whole thing. I did the whole card game for it.
Wow,
that's
yeah,
sick.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It was like
that's too bad. That's too bad that game never came out.
Well, I don't know. It wasn't up to me, so it was like I still. It's still on my some of them are still on my portfolio page.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't, because they were really some of those pieces were really, really good. I still keep them up there because they still solid, really solid work I did. But yeah, I ain't get paid a lot for it though. I ain't gonna lie. I think I got, for all 60 cards, I think I was paid like $2,500 for the whole thing.
Oh man,
27
wow.
or something. It came out to like $50 per card or something like that, or less than $50 per card. But I was just trying to get work at the time.
Right,
I was
just
trying to make my way up there.
Yeah.
And they were all done digitally. This is when I was still a digital artist, so I think I got them all done within like a year and a half, something like that.
Man, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's really
cool. It was major output. And it wasn't the only thing I was doing. I was doing that, and I was working on another card game, and I was doing something else. I was doing like private commissions. Yeah, I was doing like a whole lot of stuff. That's when I figured out I could actually do a lot of work in a fairly short amount of time, which really helps now. Now that, like, the one thing they don't tell you about being a professional is that however much you were working when you were trying to get on, you need to make twice as much work, but it needs to be just as good as if you spent like a month on it. You got to get it done in like 3 to 5 days.
Man.
Yeah. So it helped me with that a lot.
Okay. Are there any cards that you're working on that you're excited about? Any like new stuff? You don't have to tell me what it is. I know like that's against the rules.
Yeah, I'm on the major NDA. But yeah, there's some cards that that are on deck that I'm really excited about. I think what's it called? Phyrexia? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Phyrexia.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah. So I think I have a card for that.
Wow,
that's coming out soon.
I think I just saw like Amazon tried to push me that product like to pre-order, even though that's not for like a while back.
Yeah, that's like February.
Like really
yeah. It's like, I think it's the first set of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I have something for that, which I really love the painting I did for it. It's one of my favorites that I've done so far. I did.
I can't wait.
I did another piece. It has a lot of figures in it. I can't tell you which set this one's in, but I don't think it's been announced yet. But I did a piece for I did a piece that had like 12 to 15 figures in it.
Oh, man.
So that was a hectic one. Yeah.
There's something that you're working on right now. I saw you posted on Instagram. It's like a wizard reading books.
Oh,
I love that one.
Piece.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's a personal piece. I really want to finish. I really want to finish that. I started working on that one. I was a guest artist at a workshop, Jeff Miracolo's workshop that he puts on pretty much every year. And I was working on that for, everybody to come around, look at and stuff like that. Cause it was a piece I had started, I want to say like 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. I was doing Smart School with Donato, and that was one of the first, I think that was the first drawings, because we make a preliminary drawing for the first assignment. So I made a preliminary drawing out of it. And I thought it was so cool that I should make a painting out of it. So I tried making a painting out of it, and it never went anywhere, stalled out for like 3 years. So I was like, well, now is the perfect time to work on it. So I got a piece of it done, and then it's now sitting once again. And I don't know when I'm going to get back to it. I have somebody, I think Tyler Warpole, he wants it whenever, or at least he's interested in trying to buy it at some point.
Yeah,
whenever.
It looks phenomenal.
So I'm trying to get it done. So I know that, because I know that he wants it, or at least had interest in it at the time. By the time I finish with it, he might not have an interest in it anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get it because it is a really cool piece.
Yes, it is.
It's ambitious. I don't know how to stop myself. I always keep saying I'm gonna do like simple stuff, and then it's never simple.
So they've been doing like artist secret layers. Since you don't play the game, how would you go about picking cards if you got chosen to do one?
Chosen to do a secret layer?
Mm-hmm.
I have done a secret layer, actually. It hasn't come out yet, but I have done one.
Oh,
I can't tell you exactly for which it's gonna be, but yeah, I did do one.
Wow.
I don't know when it's gonna come out. But I have done one. Yeah.
Okay. So that's something we should all be on the lookout for.
At some point, yeah. It was really cool, though. It was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. Different. It was different.
Wow, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever that comes out, I don't know. I mean, that stuff is usually anywhere from like 6 months to a year out from when you do it.
Okay.
So like, I can't tell you exactly when I did it, but I did do one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Wow.
If you had to pick in a fight your ebony fly or this frog, who do you think would win?
Ebony fly, I would assume. I don't.
All right.
It's made out of ebony. Like, well, you couldn't damage it.
You're right. You're right. What if this frog had death touch?
Now, how does death touch actually work in this scenario? Like, does it degrade all material, or does it just degrade like organic to a certain degree? Like, how are we doing it?
It's, I guess the way it works is usually if unless the thing has some way of being indestructible or damage not being dealt to it, it usually would die. But I know the ebony fly isn't always a fly. Sometimes it's not a fly.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a statue.
Yeah, sometimes exactly. So I guess it does have the luxury of not necessarily always being animated. Yeah.
I mean, even if like it's based off of a magic, like it animates based off of the magical property of it. So it's not technically alive. So I would still probably say ebony fly, since it's not actually a living thing. Yeah.
Right. Like that. All right. Okay. It's fair. All right.
That's why I ask these questions.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. That's
Context.
good.
Are you working on any comics right now?
I am. Yes. Technically working on 2 separate ones. One of which let's see, I'm trying to think if I can talk about which one I can talk about. I can talk about both of them. Okay, so yeah, I'm doing 2 different comics. One of which is for a company called 247 Comics. The other one is called Verse Entertainment. So the one for Verse is a continuation of a comic I had already done for him called The Legend of Yuckmouth. It was a collaboration with the rapper. And
yes.
so
yeah,
we
I think I remember Yuckmouth.
yeah, so we did the first issue and we're working on the part 2 of the first issue right now because it was a really long script, so we had to divide it into 2 parts. So I finished inking it, so we gonna get it colored now. That's more like how I do traditionally type comic stuff, with the pen and ink. But the one for 247 Comics is like a special kind of thing because I'm actually oil painting that one. And
oh wow.
yeah,
That feels like it's gonna take forever.
oh yes, it is. I'm on issue number 3 right now. I started it back in 2020. I think I started it back in 2020. And so now I'm on issue 3. Just started issue 3, actually. Finished the sketches today. And so it's going to be before all, because it's a 6-issue series. I think it's going to be like another couple years before it's actually fully done.
Okay.
But I don't know how the rollout for that one's going to be. They say that they want me to get halfway through issue 3 before they start putting out the first issue, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that one I'm really, really excited about because it's unique. At least you don't see a lot of artists painting in general in comic books, let alone like oil painting it. So it's like on some Alex Ross type stuff.
I love that you mentioned Alex Ross. Actually, I was going to ask, are there any like comic artists that like are big influences for you, or any specific? I know Alex Ross has done some of the best like DC stuff I've ever seen. So like, he's a big.
Alex Ross is definitely one of them. I have like a myriad depending on the style. So like there are 2 artists I like for the painted style. So Alex Ross, and there's another artist, Riccardo Federici. I don't know if y'all know who he is.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know.
He does a lot of stuff for DC.
Okay.
I think his work is primary. I don't think I've ever seen him do Marvel stuff, but he does a lot of stuff for DC. He does the title Lost Gods, that series for DC. He does that. I think he exclusively does. Well, I think he's the only artist that works on that title, I think. But he does a lot of stuff for, like, he does Batman titles. He does Superman titles as well. He does covers too. Phenomenal artist. So I think my stuff is like a cross between those 2 a little bit.
Okay.
So that's for the painted stuff. As far as like the regular, like the traditional type style, Bernie Wrightson, really love his work. Greg Capullo, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Franklin Booth was a big influence on me, especially with the hatching style, because I don't really cross hatch when I do ink stuff. My stuff is like, it's a hatch. It's just one hatch, but it's like different angles to each other. Kind of like if you Google Franklin Booth, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, there's no cross in it at all. It's just straight hatching. Like, my stuff doesn't work well with cross hatching, but it works well with hatching. So I took a lot from him. And Bernie Wrightson kind of comes from that a little bit too. So I inject those guys heavy into my art as far as that is concerned. Yeah.
Very
Mm.
cool.
Man, this has been a great talk. I really appreciate you spending time with us today.
Oh,
This has been amazing.
I appreciate you guys having me on, you know, and even
It's a pleasure.
inviting me on here in the first place. Yeah.